This is going to be a summary of the Challenge Championships in Samarin. It's not really a highlights, but it's going to be a recap of what happened, what went down, why I raced the way that I raced, or at least why I think I raced the way that I raced. I'm probably feeling a little bit similar to Joe Skipper at this point because I've had 2 back-to-back races which I don't feel are properly showing my full potential, and that's obviously a massive shame, and don't get me wrong, really disappointed, but I think it's really important to share that with you guys and show that it's not all a flippin' highlight reel on Instagram or something like that. Like, even pros get it wrong, and maybe it's nothing to do with physical ability or performance, which I honestly don't think it was in the past couple of races, but more so you just getting it wrong. I got it wrong. Like, I couldn't have done anything in Marbella. I think it was the heat situation. I now need to go and address that situation by actually making sure that I'm prepared for the heat. But I think in Samarin it was something slightly different, which I'll go into later in this video, but it's something that could have 100% be avoided. I alluded to it in my Instagram post, and I think that it was completely my own fault, but I'll go into the reasoning behind this. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of an insight into, like I said, the fact that it doesn't always go right. We get it wrong, we learn from our experiences so that you don't have to, and hopefully that is me sharing with you what can go wrong so that you don't make that mistake yourselves. Anyway, rewind back to a couple of days before. Preparation was going really well, felt really good on my run session, felt really good on my bike session, but prior to my bike session, the day before the race, I went out for my ride and I punctured. So straight away on the back foot, this was 5 minutes out from my flat, from my apartment, and about like 8 o'clock, 8:30, so pretty early in the morning, so absolutely fine, got the rest of the day to kind of sort myself out. But got the puncture, couldn't fix the puncture because I had the wrong tube. Valve was too long for the disc, which is what punctured the back wheel. So I had to get a taxi back to the apartment, and by this time, and by the time that I'd fixed the puncture, I had to be out of that apartment because you're basically, this all makes so much sense. Anyway, had to be out of the apartment by 11 o'clock. So fixed the puncture, got a taxi because I was moving to Samarin. I was moving accommodation to the race venue, which in theory, great idea, because the next morning, nice and easy to kind of just wake up, roll out of bed, prepare, do my warm up, and then get on the start line, in theory. But got into a sweltering hot car, taxi to Samarin to get to the X-Bionic. Great, cool, okay. Now, in my head, which you'll probably be able to relate to, I was still got to get my prep sessions done, got to do my bike, got to do my run, got to do my swim, because if I don't do that, I'm not going to be physically prepared for the race. Should have had a little bit more foresight, will from now on. Got to the X-Bionic, I couldn't check into my room until 3 o'clock, this is now 11 o'clock. Went out for my ride, did 90 minutes with, I don't know, probably a 25-minute build in there from kind of just below race pace to above race pace. Got back, went for my run in the gym because I was like, I'm not leaving anything else to chance. I don't want to mess around on the site and not know where I'm going. I just want an easy run to just spin the legs and get it done as easy as possible. So went to the gym, sweated buckets. You might see where this is going. Anyway, got into the room at 3 o'clock now, just after my run. I literally only just had lunch straight after that run because I'd been so flat out for the rest of the time. Got into my hotel room, literally quick turnaround because I was going to meet Harry for a swim at about 4 o'clock, just after 4. So finished my whole prep day by 5. Got back to my room. My dad was now in the room because he just travelled over from Guernsey. So that was nice to see him as well, but it was now 5 o'clock, way into the day, whereas I usually finish up my prep sessions midday, 1 o'clock, latest. So I then have the rest of the afternoon just to relax, rack, and just chill out. So anyway, get to the evening, piss yellow, you can see where this is going. I was like, shit, need to rehydrate. So kind of went about doing that. I stupidly messed around with the headset of my Trek to just realign the wheel slightly because it was slightly off center just because of the handlebars and tightening the headset. That took another hour because I lost the bolt and couldn't find it. Shouldn't mess around with bikes before race day. Just don't do it. Managed to rack my bike, got back, had some food, Didn't have my normal pizza, had a burger, but like plenty of carbs and stuff, so that's fine. So started to rehydrate, or try to rehydrate, went to sleep, sweated buckets throughout the night, no idea why. Potentially my thinking is that once you're dehydrated, it's hard for the body to cool itself because it hasn't got the right amount of water within the system to keep you cool. Just a theory, not 100% scientific. Let me know if that's wrong. Woke up in the morning, still pissed, like dark yellow. Went about rehydrating, electrolytes, all sorts, salts, fluids, whatever. Ran to the start line now after like just sorting out racking, not feeling quite right, like sweating buckets, whatever. Anyway, got in the water, which I thought was lovely, but obviously in the previous video you saw that it was almost not a swim because the water was so cold. I was like, this is great, like cooling me down, perfect. Everyone else was a little bit chilly, but I was like, yeah, whatever, like a bit bulkier, like retain a bit more heat, whatever. And started the race, got onto Aaron and Richard Varga's feet. I think it was Varga first, then Aaron at this point. I was like, okay, cool. And then Aaron made a bit of an attack to swing out and get on the front, and I missed the move, so I kind of lost the feet. And from then on I was like, well, I can't go any harder because I will blow if I and put the rest of my race in jeopardy if I go any harder than this. It's something that I've been working on, and something that I've done in the past where I've tried to go with a move, blown my doors and not been able to like do the rest of the race properly. So anyway, let people come around me and then just sat in the group basically, which was great. Like I came out of the water feeling fine. Moving into transition, I had a pretty good transition. I came out with the main group. Like there was a couple up the road, Varga and Aaron and one other, I think it was. And yeah, I was out on the road with Mathis and probably some of the top guys in and around them. I was like, still, okay, I'm in a good position here. I can just go with it. But still didn't feel like I could push the power that I usually can. So for reference, like out of the water in Marbella, I'd gone pretty hard by myself, not on feet, but I was still able to hold 340 watts on the flat and then 370 watts up the hill. Whereas here, I was struggling to hold 320 watts. So I was a bit like, I don't have the confidence to go with moves here. I'm just gonna have to sit on. Like just in the line, 20 meters, you're not getting as much draft anyway. I was in a bit of a predicament where I didn't feel like I could just move up to the front or follow moves that were going past. So I saw Tom Bish, Freddie Funk and that go past, saw Mathis up the road, and I was like, those are the people that you want to be with. And I couldn't go with it. So I was like, whatever, I'll stay where I am. I'll try and get through this and see what I have left on the run. I'm still in the second pack, which isn't too bad. It didn't feel right for the whole bike ride. I was a bit delirious. I was like sweating buckets. Like I had no power to give. Like 320 watts isn't to be sniffed at. I was still like being able to hold that, but it wasn't like 320 watts for me, I usually feel pretty comfortable at. Whereas at this point, that was not the case at all. I was like basically gritting my teeth, just trying to stay where I was. Got to 60k, someone put in an attack. I cramped up enormously, basically had to pull over onto the side of the road to stretch. Like basically 200 watts back into transition just to try and make it back there. I slipped back to the fourth group, I think it was. I think Tom Davis and a few other like good runners and stuff were in there. I wasn't even sure if I was going to start the run, to be honest. I was in such a pickle. Like it was horrendous, and then like mentally I'd kind of checked out. But then I was like, okay, I'll take transition easy. I'll see if I can regroup, like stretch a little bit, walk it off. Got changed into my trainers, which is so difficult to do when you're cramping, by the way. Like you can barely put your trainers on because everything's just like spasming. Anyway, managed to get them on, walked out of transition, like jogged to the first aid station, drank everything that I could, like grabbed all the ice, grabbed sponges, all sorts to try and cool myself down, and then like kind of waddled around the first lap of 3.5k, and there's 5.5 laps to do. So I was kind of like, is it even worth it? The only thing that really got me through, I don't know if there's still points that I could get even if I just complete this race to go towards PTO. Bit delirious at the time, so I wasn't really thinking straight. Like I was almost last. There's almost definitely not going to be any points for it. But also just seeing my dad once a lap really helped. Even just seeing his face, he didn't need to say anything, really helped me like just get around. So not ideal, but I managed to get myself moving by lap 2 and just kind of into a bit of a like steady state zone 2, zone 3 jog. By no means fast. I was just trying to hold gaps to the girls that were also kind of lapping at the same rate as me. I think most of them run faster. But yeah, just kind of stayed out there supporting others whilst the guys lapped me. Like, obviously massively disappointing. Like, kind of, it's not what you want, is it? You want to be kind of like in the race. Either way, I think there's something to be said for the like mental fortitude of just getting through that, but not ideal. So anyway, rounding up, I've managed to finish the race, almost last, I think it was. I'm almost positive it was pretty much down to mostly dehydration. I will, of course, look into other factors, such as my preparation, the weeks leading in, what happened between Marbella and this race. The fueling was fine. The fueling, I think, was spot on. The hydration was not anywhere near. The stress should never be discounted from the day before or the week leading in, so that's definitely something that I will try and mitigate in the future. And yeah, I think all in all, a few things to consider, but I've taken a couple of days to produce this video because obviously it's very disappointing to have a race like that, and obviously want to update you guys, but it's tough to do and come to terms with when you've messed up your own race because of preparation, because you spent all year training for it, to let it all slip for a slight poor prep. It's just not what you train for. Like, that's such an easy thing to mitigate that it shouldn't be done, especially at a professional level. But hopefully it's something that I'll learn and take forward for next time. Like, mitigate stress, mitigate kind of like unforeseen circumstances, hydrate properly, fuel properly, and yeah, just deliver yourself to the line in the best shape possible. It's like being injured. If you're injured on the line, then yeah, you're basically like stuffed from the start, and that's basically what I had on the day. It's like I was injured or dehydrated on the line, and you can only fire at 95%, which is just not acceptable at that level. So anyway, not all bad news. I still think that I was in the race for up to 70k worth of cycling, and who knows, if I hadn't cramped, like, I might have gone on the run and might have been okay. But yeah, it wasn't to be on that day. I will kind of recoup, ready to go again, because my next race is Staffordshire. So hopefully I'll still be fit, I'll have prepped properly, and I'll have a good race. So yeah, I'll keep you up to date in between now and then. Got a few good, interesting things to update you guys on, and kit, and I'll do a bike breakdown as well. So stay tuned, and thanks for watching.